everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at BrickCon Seattle 2018, and I'm joined by a couple of talented junior attendees here actually that brought this great Hobbiton build. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves and then take us through the build.
Yeah, so my name is Cole, and we pretty much started planning about 6 months before the convention. I built the front half, and Jake over here built the back half. The major challenge was getting all the paths probably, or just making it look coherent. So.
I'm Jake. I built the back half of the build, and probably the toughest part was about halfway through I realized I had built mine too tall for Cole's, so I had to take some layers off and make it a little lower, and then Cole had to elevate his section a little bit. And not finishing is always something that we do, kind of having to put some stuff together here. I built the whole tree when we got here on Friday and Thursday. Barely made it in time for friends and family.
But it looks like you guys finished strong. So talk a little bit more about that collaboration process. Like you said, you realized halfway through that there were going to be some issues. So how does that work as you guys try to figure out how it's all going to line up?
Well, we live in 2 different states, so we use Google Hangouts and just send each other pictures all the time, seeing where everything will line up. And when we got here, there were just a couple things that were slightly off, but it all worked out. Hopefully it works.
Yeah. So then, Cole, if you want to talk about your section and some of the details and kind of how that came together for you.
Yeah, so I started with the water mill, quite a while ago actually, but I procrastinate, so I didn't finish it till just the other day. The water was really fun. I don't know if I've seen the technique I used. It's just translight blue tiles on top of trans clear on top of white, so very parts intensive. I was able to add in a couple hobbit holes, which I really wanted to do because it's Hobbiton, and Jake got the special part of building like 4 of them. So
it sounds like there might be a bit of resentment there.
Yeah, it's all good. We love working together. It's a super fun process.
So I built the back part, I guess, as I said before. Since I've got back shot row up front and then Bilbo's house in the back, I tried to get as accurate as I could for Sam's house and Bilbo's house, and we tried to get a layout where we could get as many recognizable buildings and stuff with it being somewhat accurate. So we drew up a little map and tried to make it somewhat accurate because we had to stretch things a little bit and make it all fit together, move the party a little bit. But other than that, it was actually pretty accurate to the real Hobbiton in New Zealand.
It looks like it, yeah. Just based on photos and everything, it looks pretty amazing. So talk about some of that elevation. You guys referenced that earlier, but basically every step here is a step down or step up, onto the build. So what's it like trying to achieve that elevation in effect while still keeping things looking interesting?
We used a lot of snot and a lot of slope pieces. So when we started sloping up before, and when it got really steep, we would use some snot technique and just kind of do the same thing that we did on the ground, but sideways, and kind of fit the hobbit holes into that as well as we could, and then just kind of give it a natural flow to it.
Yeah, and it works really well, so that natural kind of dirt path.
Yeah, the dark tan, it just kind of breaks up the green, and then we threw in some cobblestone, trying to just fill it with life.
And then I'm looking at the back here a little bit and see kind of how you were able to raise this up. So talk about support underneath there and what you guys kind of feel is the best way to support when you get that high elevation.
So what I did in the back was I would put a layer of big 16 by 16 plates and a layer of bricks and more plates. And then below that I will put a bunch of pillars and try and hold that up. And I think that is a good technique because it's not super parts intensive because plate on brick on plate is really strong and can hold a lot of weight, and that's kind of what I usually use. And I had to fill some gaps with just standing parts that weren't really connected to anything, but it's all right.
And then how about this tree back here as well? What's some of the techniques you use there?
This is a technique that I came up with a couple months ago, and it's kind of just taking regular leaves, but I use hinge plates so I can get a cool curving branch. And it usually works better with small leaves, but I think it still looks all right with the big ones, and it kind of gets a natural-ish looking tree. And that's one of my favorite techniques.
Yeah, I think it works really well. So the whole build came out really great, you guys. I appreciate both of you chatting with me about it. I always look forward to your work. Whenever we're at a show, you guys have stuff on display. Do you have more collaborations planned for the future?
Yes, Bricks Cascade 2019.
There you go. Okay. Any hints as to what it might be, Cole?
We're still figuring that out.
That's all good. I'm sure it'll be something amazing, though. So until next time, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you too.